Is now the time to sell your movie or TV show idea? If you've been watching the news lately, you're probably aware of the writer's strike. The WGA, or Writers Guild of America, has been striking and it's now been over 100 days. So does this open up an opportunity for aspiring writers or everyday people like you to finally get a chance to sell your idea? Well, in this video, I will go over what is going on with the writer's strike and how it affects those union writers and ultimately you. How you could benefit from this and sell your movie or TV idea and exactly what steps you need to do to accomplish this. Anyway, I'm Dan and I'm here to help you navigate through this ever-changing landscape in media and content creation and ultimately find great opportunities, whether you're a business owner, a personal brand, or you just like to follow for entertainment. So really quick, I'm not going to go over the writer's strike in detail. Plenty of news sources explain this, but in general, if you're not aware, according to the rules, the writers' union members cannot provide any writing services, including pitching and development. They can't do general meetings, they can't shop, option, sell, or take any action to further the sale of a script, including developing the script with a producer or attaching talent or any other elements to the project, really. They can't even promote their own project in most circumstances. It's just an all-around pause, a strike. So, if you're thinking, well, wait a second, if all the writers are not writing and entertainment companies need writers, is this a chance for me to get my foot in the door? Or perhaps just get that movie or show idea finally seen? The competition is almost non-existent right now, right? Well, kind of. This is where it gets murky. The main and most important thing when it comes to the strike is writers cannot work for or have contact with signatory companies, the companies that the WGA is striking against. So if you're curious which companies those are, I'll put a link in the description. Some of them are the obvious big studios, Disney, Fox, Universal, Netflix, Warner Brothers, etc. But there are tons you probably have never heard of as well. So if the WGA member has any meetings with these companies or does any sort of business, they can be fined or kicked out of the union. And they are taking this strike very seriously. Now, you are most likely a non-union member. So does this really matter to you anyway? Well, it could. If you do business with any of these companies listed, like sell your movie idea and the guild found out later, then it could be unlikely they would ever let you become a member in the future. So if your big plan is to become a WGA member, it may not be worth it for you to take the chance. But for anyone else, if you have a good movie or TV idea, let's take a look at how this could work. So the reality is most production companies and studios don't take unsolicited work. You can't just send your completed script or movie idea written in paragraph form and expect them to read it. Most have policies against this. They really only take work from people they know. Many people think you could just send something to Netflix and hopefully they read it, and if they like it, they buy it. It sounds nice, but it doesn't work like that. Amazon used to take submissions from anyone for their shows and movies, but they have since discontinued this service. In the past, if you ever wanted to sell your idea, most people will just recommend you network with industry professionals, you pay money to submit your screenplay to screenwriting competitions, you try to get an agent or manager with connections, intern at production companies, etc. It's all about who you know, right? Well, let me tell you about a couple of different ways. And if you want my opinion, these ways are going to become much more common in the future. Just like YouTube shows have become a common new form of watching entertainment other than just network TV series. So the first way is kind of similar to networking, but it's much more targeted. You could sign up for IMDb Pro. They offer a free 30-day trial period. But essentially what this does is allow you to find the direct contact information to production companies or producers that you feel would like your ideas. So for example, if you had a horror film movie idea, find other horror films that may be similar to yours, not just big studio movies, but there are thousands of films you will see on streaming, online, DVD, and even in theaters. So, if your idea is similar to what these producer or production companies produce, they may be interested in your idea. Send them a direct email with your script idea or some info. Like I said, you most likely won't get a reply, but at least you have a more targeted approach. Now let's get to the other ways. This method I think is preferred because this is like throwing out the bait and letting the fish come to you. Websites are starting to pop up as like middlemen between writers and production companies that want to purchase material. Production companies are constantly looking for new projects and new ideas, especially within their niche. Two of the main sites right now are called Inktip and Blacklist. Now, I have used both personally, and I will break them down to you fairly. First, Inktip is a service you can post your movie script online, and real vetted filmmakers will have the opportunity to search for these scripts. The filmmakers and companies can narrow down search criteria with budget, lengths, genre, etc. So they can stumble upon your screenplay this way. Another option with the Inktip Pro membership, you get emails with weekly pitch requests, which means production companies post exactly what they're looking for as far as a script, and if your movie fits into that criteria, you can send it directly to them to read. I was a part of this service, and I did get weekly requests, and almost every week my screenplay qualified for what somebody was looking for. I did get a few companies read my tagline for my movie and request that I send them the final script. But in the end, I didn't sell it. And I eventually took it off the site. But I did like that I could get my script into the right hands at least and have communication. Now, Inktip Pro does cost money. It's about $32 a month to participate in this service. And I think it's okay that they charge. I mean, it is a service. Blacklist is very similar as far as hosting your script, and they even offer other services like script reviewing. Inktip and Blacklist seem to be the most reputable for this kind of thing, but there are a lot of services and sites that say they do this and more. But I would be very careful which service you use, like moviepitcher.com, which sounds great. They will pitch your idea to Hollywood for $99. But the more you start to look into the reviews online, people are not happy with it, and credibility gets shot. Now, I've never used Movie Pitcher before, so I don't know, but many of these turn out to be full-out scams, or they didn't follow through with what they advertise, so just be careful. Before I go any further, if you're now thinking, well, do I need a full professionally written screenplay to sell it? I would say yes and no. Not everyone requires a finished screenplay, but most do. A lot of people write a synopsis or treatment, which means a brief summary or core concept of the idea, major plot points and main characters, etc. It's usually a document that tells the story of what happens with your idea, like a roadmap for the reader or producer. So, since you can't really copyright a movie idea, you will want to get the idea fleshed out. Good news is, if you have no experience in doing this, you don't have to. You can hire a writer, go to Upwork or Fiverr, Craigslist, or one of those gig worker sites. You can find someone who will write your idea the way that you want it in the correct format. The production company is going to make tweaks anyway to the script when it comes down to it, but it's all about getting your story on paper. A lot of writers out there would just love to be paid to write. Remember, most writers already write just for the passion of it without making a dime. So you could get someone to write it with you, for you, or better yet, share the credit with them. If you want full rights to the screenplay, I recommend you make them sign an independent contract or written agreement stating that the work shall be made for hire. This allows you to keep the rights to the script, a very important piece if you're trying to sell it. But if you think you can write it yourself, download Final Draft or Sell TX. For free, it's a script writing software that essentially puts everything in the correct format for you. Even if the writer's strike ends tomorrow, do you think production companies and studios are just going to forget and go back to normal? Or do you think they are going to find other ways to start getting ideas and scripts from people? Sure, the big studios are stuck, but perhaps more and more smaller production companies just don't want to be part of the big unionized Hollywood system. I see more and more independent production companies popping up that are non-union and just want to tell great stories. And maybe for now they won't go to the big movie theaters, but now we have many more ways to consume content. We are in an interesting time where you have the opportunity to not only be seen in a crowd, but also be at the forefront of a changing trend. But tell me what you think. Are things just going to stay the same, or is it shifting and the strike is just another straw on the camel's back? I would love to hear what you think. Leave me a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. I'm going to bring tons of different ways to make money through content for business owners, personal brands, filmmakers. I'll be going over specific stories with people who have done it and much more. Anyway, from Hollywood to YouTube, we're finding money in media.